Hello, what is up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So a lot of you have been asking me to do a makeup collection, so that's what's happening. I'm probably going to do a declutter, like a makeup declutter sometime soon because as you know, I'm starting to enjoy getting rid of things and making sure all I have is products that I'm obsessed with, that I can't wait to use. There's some kind of inner joy and peace that comes out of that is worth so much more than all the products. So that's what I'm going towards, so maybe there'll be a declutter sometime in the near future. But for now, this is my collection. I used to be super into makeup, like only watching makeup videos, but I've gotten a little bored. I've gotten a little bored with makeup, all the releases, everything coming out. Like I said, used to be obsessed. Now I still love makeup. I think the pandemic had something to do with it too. Like I wasn't really using as much makeup. There was nowhere to go. So it kind of made me realize that I really don't need like 50 bronzers, you know? Not that I have that many, but maybe somewhere near that. So this is my collection. Let me know what other videos you'd like to see, and let's get started. So this is what my vanity looks like up here. I keep my hygiene products up there, and then here I just have a mirror. I have some like hair products, a setting spray that I use. This is the Iconic London one. I have all my eye products here. I have a chapstick in here, just all my mascaras, and then like a little glitter spray. But yeah, in general, this is everything I have. All my palettes are displayed. I only have one drawer of actual makeup in here. That's extra palettes. But besides that, it's just these drawers and the top. So, all right, let's get started. So this is the only drawer that I have makeup in, and these are basically eyeshadow palettes that don't fit in my up top where I display them, so it's just a couple extras. So in here I have this guy. This is the Makeup Revolution Batman palette. I got this because me and my boyfriend really love watching like DC and Marvel movies, superhero movies, and I thought it would be really cool to own something from the theme. So this is a nice palette. It's nothing extraordinary. I really mainly wanted it because it's Batman, but yeah, have this in here. I have some ColourPop palettes. This is the Sweet Talk palette. This is one of my favorites. They have like really nice pressed glitters. I absolutely adore this palette. I actually bought this because I kept complimenting someone on their makeup look and they told me they were wearing this, so got it and I absolutely love this. ColourPop shadows are really good. If you're looking for something a little more affordable, they're amazing. I also have their Lizzie McGuire palette. Also, I apologize for my nails. They are ugly and nasty. I'm sorry. But I bought this because it's Lizzie McGuire. These are a little more obnoxious shades than what I normally wear, but Lizzie McGuire was everything growing up. So yeah, I love this palette. And then from ColourPop, I have the Star Wars Mandalorian palette, Baby Yoda. Again, bought this for the theme, but also I ended up loving this. This is seriously one of my favorite palettes. Greens look so good on my brown eyes. And this is literally every green that you would want. This one right here is like stunning. The formula is amazing. I absolutely adore this. Then I have this Too Faced Pineapple palette. I used to collect everything Too Faced because of the packaging and the fact that it's scented. These are really pretty shades. Again, you get some greens and browns and gold. It's just absolutely gorgeous and it smells really good. This is an oldie but a goodie. Everyone was obsessed with this palette when it first came out. This is the Jaclyn Hill palette. I like this palette. It does have a lot of shades and a big range. I don't really use it that much. I probably need to get more use out of it. I just don't like larger palettes, but yeah. I have this Viseart palette. This is an all matte palette, which I struggle with because I do like having everything in one palette and I rarely go without a shimmer on the lid. I got this in a subscription box and I was so happy because during my kind of makeup obsession, everyone was saying how great these shadows were and I could never afford them. They're so expensive. So when I got one in a subscription box, I was like, there is no way. And I like the shades, they're nice. I just don't use this as much as I would have if I got it during the time that I was kind of craving trying these shadows. But yeah, I just wish there was some shimmers in here. I have this Dominique Cosmetics Transition palette. Again, got it from a subscription box. This has basically a bunch of transition shades, which I think is such a great idea. Again, I'd prefer this be an everything I need palette with shimmers, but the concept of it I do really like. Then I have this Juvia's Place The Warrior palette. This is gorgeous. I will say their formula isn't my favorite. I know a lot of people are obsessed with their formula, but it's just not everything I love. But these shades are gorgeous, and I had other ones that I decluttered, but this one is so good. And that is everything for this drawer, so let's move on to the top. So in this first drawer, I keep a lot of my favorites, a lot of my Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palettes, so let's go through those first. So I have my Modern Renaissance. I remember when I was first getting into makeup, this was one of the first palettes I bought because it was so hyped up, and I didn't like it at first because it was too pigmented for me and I still didn't really know how to work with shadows. And then it became an instant favorite once I kind of watched more videos, watched tutorials, and figured out how to use it. You can tell that I've used up a lot of it, but honestly this palette was pretty easy to hit pan on because it wasn't a very like firmly pressed palette. This is probably expired now, but that's never stopped me before. They still smell okay and they look okay, so I still use this occasionally, but I've used up my favorite shades, so I don't reach for it as often, but this was like a palette that kind of started it all. I also have Soft Glam, which is more browns. I will say, I surprisingly don't use, I thought warm toned browns would be my thing. I've realized that more cool toned like purpley shades look really good on my eyes, so yeah, I really like this palette. Honestly, the Anastasia Beverly Hills formula is probably in my top 3 favorite eyeshadow formulas of all time. So I like having all these palettes with the different shades so that I have one of my favorite formulas in pretty much every shade. Then I have the Norvina, which is gorgeous purples and pinks. I mean, everyone's seen these palettes. They're just beautiful. I have the Sultry, which is probably one of my favorites, more cool toned. The glitters in here are gorgeous. I mean, I can't even help but like dip my finger in there. They're so freaking pretty. I have the Riviera, which wasn't a lot of people's favorite. I actually bought this at TJ Maxx and it is one of my favorites. I absolutely love these. I want to have a colorful palette in this formula, and especially that one, like the kind of glittery purples are absolutely stunning. So I do love this palette. Then I have the Umrizi, which honestly, like the packaging is what got me. Glittery and pink, like sign me up. But these shades are also beautiful. It kind of reminds me of Modern Renaissance, so I could probably get rid of that one. But yeah, gorgeous palette. And then I have this one from Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Norvina Collections, Volume 3, I believe. Again, got this in a subscription box. These shades are stunning. I have nothing like this in my collection, like especially these greens. Like there's nothing in my collection like that. So I love this palette. I think the packaging is really fun. And yeah, this I consider the prettiest palette in my entire collection. This makes me think of fairies. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love using this. This is like one of my favorite shades right there. It's so gorgeous. Literally the prettiest palette that I own. And then I also have my Naked Honey palette. I actually am not a fan of the Naked formula. This one I actually do like. It's one of the only ones that I actually do like. I love these greens and kind of yellows. And this is the only one that I still own in my collection from Urban Decay Naked palettes, I think. All right, that is it for that drawer. Let's go next door. So this is just more eyeshadow palettes. Here I have pretty much the rest of them. I think this is it. These are a lot of my Too Faced palettes and just other palettes that I have. So I have the first palette, like high-end palette I think I ever bought. This was the Chocolate Bonbon palette, and I think I got like a Sephora gift card for my birthday or Christmas or something like that, and I've been wanting this palette forever. And it's been well loved. These are still to this day some of my favorite shades I've ever used. I think this wasn't like people's favorite chocolate bar palette. I think the people that have had the original chocolate bar and then the semi-sweet really didn't get excited about this one, but because this was my first one, I think it's highly underrated. I bought it because of the packaging, obviously. Also, I wasn't really familiar with makeup too much, so I didn't really care what the shades were, but I ended up absolutely loving this. Every shade except for this one. This one sucks. I do also have the Chocolate Gold, which is phenomenal. I have every shade I need here to do kind of like a deeper smoky eye and then just pop a shimmer on top. The formula of this is outstanding. It's seriously one of the best, if not the best, chocolate bar palette that they've come out with. I then have their Natural Nudes palette, just a good kind of standard basics palette. I don't reach for this as much as I should. It is a really nice palette, but I kind of reach for the chocolate bars more than this, but I should definitely use this more because it's definitely a good palette. I have the Natural Matte palette. Again, the packaging that Too Faced has is exquisite. It's beautiful. Not a huge fan of having only mattes in a palette, but I couldn't help myself. I definitely was very much into collecting Too Faced products just because they're beautiful. And then of course I have just the regular Natural Eyes, which does have some shimmers in there, so I definitely use this more often. And again, the packaging, like, It's rich, it's rich. And then from Too Faced, I have the Just Peachy Mattes. Again, not huge into all matte palettes, but this smells like peaches. It's beautiful, it's girly, it's feminine, it's just a gorgeous palette. Then I have some Tarte palettes. I have the Tartelette in Bloom. I actually really like this. I wasn't that big into Tarte shadows, but this formula is actually really, really good. So I really like the Tartelette in Bloom. Also, the shades in here are definitely up my alley. And then I have the Tartelette Toasted, which has more kind of fiery warm toned shades, which I also really, really love. I then have this one, which, what is this? This is the Love, Trust, and Fairy Dust palette. Yes, I bought this for the packaging, but also the formula is pretty good. And again, these kind of like purpley shades or like more cool tone shades are kind of what I gravitate to for my eyes personally. So yeah, I love this palette. This is the Tati Beauty palette, which is now discontinued, I think. People either love this or disliked this. This is my favorite palette, I think. The quality of this is outstanding. Yes, it's repetitive, like the shades are supposed to be similar and they're all in different finishes. Like you'll have a matte, you'll have full glitter and everything in between. So I understand that it's a little repetitive, but this is gorgeous. If you like glitter on your eyeballs, I highly recommend this. The glitters in here are like nothing I've seen before. I absolutely adore this palette. Seriously, probably in my top 2 favorite formulas of all time. And then the last one in this drawer is the Born to Run palette from Urban Decay. I bought this because of the theme. I love travel. Travel is everything to me. It literally makes me feel things. Like, it's just, travel is everything. So I got it for the theme of it. I will say the actual eyeshadows, I'm not that big of a fan of. Even the formula, I'm not that big of a fan of, and that upsets me because I like this palette so much because of the theme that it has. But I just need to play around with this more because I kind of used it like a few times, realized the formula wasn't my favorite, but I didn't test every shade. I hear some shades are better than others, so I just need to use this more, but the theme of it, chef's kiss. And in this last drawer, I have more so face palettes. So this is the Sugar Peach Too Faced face palette, one of my favorite face palettes of all time. Everything's super shimmery, everything's super glittery, and I just adore this palette. It smells so good and it's so beautiful. I also have the Too Faced Cocoa Contour palette. I love this palette. There's other contour palettes I love more, but the idea that this is like, smells like chocolate and looks like chocolate, I just adore it. And again, this is my favorite Too Faced packaging, the like really nice heavy ones with the clasps that are hearts. They're just so beautiful. And then I have the Too Faced Natural Face palette. Again, this is a stunning face palette. You've got bronzers, you've got highlighters, you've got blushes, everything you need in one. And the packaging, again, so luxe. I then have this Hourglass palette. I saved for this. Like, these are so expensive. And I will say, it didn't impress me as much as I thought it would. The Hourglass blushes are stunning. Their bronzers are really nice, their highlighters are very natural and beautiful, but this palette is so small that I cannot dip my brush in it the way that I want to, unless it's a highlighter. So, I don't know, it has like the finishing powders in there that are like they're known for those, and I just need to reach for this more because it was so freaking expensive and I just don't use it enough. It's just so tiny. It's too tiny for me. I have this Cali Contour by Smashbox. Again, this was a very popular contour palette. I've used this a few times. I definitely need to use it more. By the time I got this, I already had so many products that I just didn't give it enough love. But yeah, I've heard amazing things. I've used it once or twice and it is really nice. I have this Pure and Barbie blush palette. Gorgeous shades, every shade that you might want or need. Again, I don't like how small the areas are that I can't just reach for one blush unless I have a tiny, tiny brush. But yeah, anything Barbie themed I'm down with, and you really get a bunch of stunning colors. I have this Tarte Park Avenue Princess bronzing palette. Again, this is absolutely gorgeous. It has princess cut and a lot of shades that were very, very popular, and the packaging of this, again, is stunning. I love this like expensive looking packaging, so love this guy. I have this Natasha Denona Diamond and Blush palette. This is gorgeous. Yes, I wanted it for the packaging. That's the theme here. It has some cream products and some powder products. I will say some of these products definitely don't work for me. They're definitely for darker skin tones. But I try to make it work. It's beautiful. There's a lot of glitter in a lot of these, so it's more so like for the body, in my opinion. But yeah, I try to use this as much as I can because it is gorgeous, it's expensive, it's freaking Natasha Denona, but yeah, It's a beautiful palette. I just wish I could make more use of the shades. I have an Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit in here. My favorite highlighters pretty much. I love these highlighters. They're very natural but glowy. They're beautiful. So yeah, highly recommend these palettes. If they still have them. Do they still sell these? I don't even know. I got this forever ago, but these palettes are gorgeous. I have a little mini Kat Von D, I guess it's not Kat Von D anymore, but the Shade and Light Contour little duo. I used to own the palette, but it definitely expired, so I got rid of it. So I just got my contour shade. I don't know if this is as good as the palette, even though it's technically the same thing, but I absolutely love this shade. It's like my perfect contour shade, so I have to get another one. I also keep this guy in here. This is the Too Faced like puppy bronzer. Yes, I got it for the packaging. It is a good bronzer, but yeah, the packaging is gorgeous, which is why I display it. Same with this guy. This is the Too Faced bronzer. It looks like this. It looks like a ring box. Again, love it for the packaging. The shade is okay. It's a little orange. But still, it's beautiful. And the last thing in here is this Barbie ColourPop highlighter, impossible to open. All right, I finally got it open. So this is what it looks like inside. This is kind of like a cream. It's definitely a cream highlighter and it's beautiful. I actually adore this. I like how large the packaging is and it's Barbie themed. Like, you can't go wrong. And that is it for this drawer. Let's move on to this one. So in this drawer, I keep basically the things that I use on a daily basis and all my like concealers and things like that. Let me see if I can angle this better for you. I have 2 extra primers in here. So I have this Pixie one. These were all from subscription boxes, and the Hangover primer. This one I've used before. I've used up. They're good primers, so I just kind of keep my extras right here. I have a little sample of a primer that is very popular and very expensive. I have my Jeffree Star Cosmetics highlighter. Do you guys remember this? This is what, Ice Cold, I think? Yeah, this was like so popular back in the day. It's super shimmery, super in your face, super blinding, and I use this as an inner corner highlight. As you can tell, I have like just a little spot there that's almost hitting pan. Best inner corner highlight ever. Do I need this much product for an inner corner highlight? Probably not, but also if I want to be blinding, I use this. I have these 3 powders in here because I use them a lot. I have this CoverGirl Advanced Radiance that I actually bought because Tati here on YouTube recommended this. I've been using it a lot. This is really nice for under the eyes. If you're worried about like fine lines and things like that, I have a lot of like fine lines under my eyes. So anything that's even a little bit drying, any kind of powder I use really emphasizes those lines and it looks really drying and it makes me look older. This powder actually is so finely milled that it works pretty great. So if you're looking for an under eye powder that's not gonna make you look super dry, I highly recommend this one. And then I have this Fit Me one, which back in the day was really popular, which is why I got it, but I haven't really used it much. And then I have this banana one from Too Faced in here because I wanna get more use out of it. And it's kind of like a yellow toned powder. I also keep my butter bronzer in here because I've been trying to use this up. Great bronzer, amazing, in my opinion, best in the drugstore. The only problem I have with this is the packaging doesn't fit nicely where my bronzers are, so I wish they changed the packaging, but besides that, one of the best bronzers in my opinion. The only problem is they really need to get better at their shades and being more inclusive because they have great products, like, come on. I have this guy in here. This is the Cover FX like drops. I use this as highlighter or I add it to my foundation if you want something a little more like luminous. I highly recommend these. And then I have some primers. This is the Illumask primer. It's like a very jelly-like primer. I have my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer in here. I have the Baby Skin Primer and the Benefit Professional. Both were very popular. And the one I'm currently using up is the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright Face Primer. I really like this. I don't love it. There's other primers I like more, but it is a really nice one. I have all my favorite concealers. So I have a Tarte concealer, I have a ColourPop concealer, I have a Huda Beauty concealer, and a e.l.f. concealer. These are basically my favorite formulas. I don't really venture away from these concealers. I have a little glitter glue, some glitter type products for the eyes. I've got 2 Stila Glitter and Glow shadows. These are stunning. I love the Stila shadows. These are amazing. And then I have 2 ColourPop shadows. These I use kind of all over the lid when I'm going to work and I'm rushing and I don't feel like doing much makeup, then I just throw these all over the lid. And that is it for this drawer. This is kind of just a mess of things that I use on a daily basis, concealers, things like that. All right, this second drawer has all my bronzers, blushes, blushes and highlighters. So here I have all my old Too Faced ones, old packaging. Does anybody remember this? I have my old chocolate one. I have, or this is milk chocolate. This one's chocolate, a little darker if I'm tan. I have my Sun Bunny one, which is slightly more luminous, and it looks like this. Do they still have this in new packaging? Let me know. This is one of my favorites. It's the Unicorn Tears. People didn't really like this as much. I had to repress mine because it fell apart, but I love this bronzer. It's one of my favorites. Don't let the unicorn fool you. It is a fantastic bronzer. I have this pineapple one. Again, Too Faced packaging is everything. I used to collect their bronzers. I have this Sweetie Pie one, which looks like a pie, which again, like how could I resist at that time? I really couldn't. And then I have the chocolate gold, which looks like this. I also have my Sweet Tea bronzer. This was everything back in the day. Let me know if you remember these. I also keep this guy in the back. This is their Natural Lust bronzer. Yes, the packaging. Like the packaging is absolutely stunning. This one is gorgeous. It's very light, but it's beautiful. I also have this L'Oreal True Match bronzer. Again, really good one from the drugstore if you want something a little more luminous. I have this Anastasia Beverly Hills one that is way too dark for me, but I'm hoping if I get super tan, it'll work for me because, yeah, I got in a subscription box. I chose one of the lightest shades that was left to choose from because I really wanted to try out the formula, and it's definitely way too dark for me, at least right now. Like, I mean, it's insane, but hopefully one day I will be able to use this. I have this Bahama Mama contour bronzer. Do you guys remember this? This was everything back in the day. Everybody used this. And then I have this from the Balm too. This is kind of like a blushing bronzer, kind of somewhere in the middle, which those products confuse me, but I do really like it. And then I think this is the last bronzer I have. I have good old Hoola. Hoola you had to have. If you had a collection, Hoola was just the standard, so I got a Hoola. Now moving on to blushes, I have this one from Hourglass. The blushes from Hourglass are outstanding. They last forever on the skin. This is in Diffused Heat. I have these two Too Faced ones. This one is Cherry Bomb and Apricot in the Act. Gorgeous, gorgeous, shimmery, but gorgeous blushes, and they smell like the fruit. This is Baby Love. Do you guys remember these? Like the packaging, outstanding, 10 out of 10. These are gorgeous. I have this one. This is in Halo, I think. It's again, it kind of gives a similar vibe as the Hourglass one. Yeah, really nice formula. I have this one from Milk, which is a cream blush, which have been very popular. I actually use this a lot for work. But I still prefer powders, I think. I have these two, which were like my first high-end blushes ever. I kept going back to Sephora and swatching these over and over again. I don't know if they still have these. This is something about Berry. They're beautiful. They're shimmery blushes. They're gorgeous. They're super glittery. This one is Perfect Blush Blush in Peach Beach. Again, stunning. One of my first products. These are probably expired, but powder products, you know, unless they smell bad or they look bad, I'm not gonna get rid of them. So yeah, these are gorgeous. And then my last blush is this Lizzie McGuire one. Gorgeous, glittery. This is from ColourPop. So stunning. This one is in You Are Magnifique. I don't know if that's the shade name, but yeah, again, Lizzie McGuire is everything. And then my highlighters, I have this Too Faced one that looks like this. Yes, I got it for the packaging. Do I regret it? No. I have the infamous Mary Luminizer, such a great highlighter from the Balm. This is like an old favorite and it'll always be a favorite. I have Cookie from Benefit. Again, a gorgeous kind of pink toned highlighter. This one's really, really beautiful. Then I have this one again, the Batman theme from Makeup Revolution. I know. I got it because Batman. Also, I really do like the highlighter. And then the last one is this Laura Geller one in Gilded Honey. This is one of my favorite highlighter formulas of all time. It is stunning. These are really, really stunning. This next stores has all my foundations. I'll try to go through these really quick because there's a lot of them. I have my favorite drugstore foundation. It's the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation. These are gorgeous. I have the Revlon Candid foundation, my matte and poreless. I have the Dream Cushion from Maybelline, the Maybelline Dream BB Cream, the L'Oreal True Match foundation. This is the darkest foundation I have for when I'm super tan. This Maybelline 24 Hour foundation. I have the Wet n Wild stick foundation. This is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage foundation. I'm sorry if it's a little blurry. I'm trying to go fast. I have this e.l.f. foundation, L'Oreal True Match, and my Wet n Wild foundation. my Rimmel Stay Matte Foundation, the ColourPop Pretty Fresh, this Ulta Beauty Powder Foundation, the Perfect Peach and Dew You from Too Faced. I have a Ciate London Foundation, Natasha Denona and Becca. I have these two from Tarte, the amazing Huda Beauty Foundation, and my favorite high-end foundation is the Born This Way. I also have the matte version, but this one is my favorite of all time. It's slightly luminous, it's literally perfection. And those are all my foundations. All right, are we almost done? Lip products. Now I won't go through this too much. I have a bunch of ColourPop, I have a bunch of lip glosses, I have way too many lip products for my own good. If you want a dedicated video, let me know, but I just don't want to go through all of them. I have some Jeffree Star here. Those are great quality. I have a lot of Too Faced ones here. These are all ColourPop lippy sticks, which I'm obsessed with. I have a whole bunch of lip glosses. I have some Kylie Cosmetics ones. I have these Tarte ones, which are gorgeous. Just a lot of lip products. If you're interested in knowing more, let me know, but yeah, just a whole bunch of different lip products. And then last but not least, I have extra powders and setting sprays that I have not gotten to yet. I have this Anastasia one and this Everyday Vacay from Ciate London setting sprays. I have a Ciate London like a coconut powder and this all-nighter one from Urban Decay. I have these two Too Faced powders and the amazing Huda Beauty powder. Alright you guys, that is everything from my collection. Let me know what you think of my makeup collection. I know we haven't really talked about makeup too much, but let me know if you want any videos, if you want to declutter, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.